Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovias inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get everything you need to the cloud and save money in the process. Maybe the SEC can save some money. I mean, you're spending all this money on these baseball rosters. What does it get you, Joe? What's it get you?
Not a lot this year. I feel like I might have jinxed the SEC.
Did you know?
By pointing out their dominance only for them to summarily shit in their pants.
It's fun.
In the regional round. This is the regional round.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you get to the supers, all right, man, anything can happen. I think that's when you get into the baseball random chaos generator. But
regional round?
When Vanderbilt gets knocked out, the overall number 1 seed, it's interesting.
By East Tennessee State and Wright State, by the way. Not,
Look. Tell me we've hit off-season protocols without telling me we've hit off-season protocols. Let's just go to the sports phone, shall we?
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports Phone and curse or don't.
We're sitting here talking about the SEC. Let's actually go straight to the sports phone about the SEC with a 704 number.
Hey, it's Alex. Even though I graduated from an SEC school, I have to say it was really fun watching a large swath of the SEC just shit itself this weekend in baseball, especially Georgia and Texas. God, that was satisfying. But I should add, the SEC school I graduated from is Auburn. So sorry about it, State fans. War Eagle. Hey, y'all have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.
So he mentions Georgia and Texas. What, Florida getting beat by ECU twice?
Twice.
I mean, I know ECU didn't advance out of the regional, but still, that's pretty good.
They played a whale of a game last night against Coastal Carolina, 1-0.
Yeah.
We know those games are very rare in college baseball, especially after a 15-12 affair between NC State and Stetson, minutes later. But
yeah, but
it was a wild day yesterday
in
this tournament, and we just spent a lot of time on hockey. And I know I die on this hill every year, and every year someone's like, no. But I'll say it very clearly. It is the most physically demanding championship to win is in hockey. No doubt.
Hard stop.
Broken feet, broken bones, torn hips, concussion after concussion, you name it. Lost teeth, stitches, the whole Megillah. The most difficult tournament to win is the NCAA baseball tournament, and you will never convince me otherwise. The format, you need to be Eric Tulsky to understand the format of the NCAA baseball tournament. Yes, every round is technically double elimination.
Yeah,
technically
speaking.
Technically, but I mean, Carolina today has to beat Oklahoma. You're sitting here going, didn't they already beat Oklahoma? Do they got to beat them again?
Well, take State, the State Auburn game, right? So they get beat by Stetson. And this is how I also know the offseason protocols are hit, because the only thing that really tickles the phone lines for the OG Sports Phone this time of the year is NC State, right? Like, for instance, I get this from a 910.
College freaking baseball and Elliott Avent. I mean, it's just unbelievable. This goes back to the Stony Brook game in the Myrtle Beach regional 15, 20 years ago. That pitcher never even pitched. Lost both those games. Kicked out of the regional 0-2. Today, we're down 7-0 in the first inning to Stetson. 30 years. David, what the hell is going on, man? This is ridiculous. I can't comprehend it. I really can't. Anyway, fuck.
Seriously, the only time I ever hear from NC State about NC State baseball is when somebody's mad at Elliott Avent. Now, that was from Friday. I get it. Embarrassing loss. It looked like they were going to get beat by Stetson again. Grand slam saves the day. But did they even change?
No, I've never seen that before either.
It's just how I was game, right? Let's get back out there.
Even at NC State, where there's no visiting team dugout or locker room, the teams will go to either their bus or the tennis center and change. At minimum, put a different jersey on. Last night, State plays this slug-it-out game with Stetson that takes forever.
Yeah.
That included one of my best tweets of all time. I'm putting it in my own tweet Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Ryder Woodson was on an absolute tear in this regional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you the backstory to Ryder Woodson in a second, but Ryder Woodson has 3 home runs, including a grand slam to push them ahead of Stetson and into that, regional final round against Auburn. Ryder Woodson, I said, finally, a Woodson did something good for NC State baseball. Finally. And no less in the NCAA tournament and minutes after Vanderbilt was eliminated. So just perfection from Ryder Woodson. Now that he's gone and I've had my second cup of coffee, I saw his name earlier this season. I saw his name on the roster. And I said,
how long is the Randy slander going to happen?
oh, it's about to get worse.
Okay. All right. I'm just because between you and Luke, man, like the Randy Woodson Chancellor slander is never going to end, is it?
I said, I saw Ryder Woodson's name. He's a prospect from the state of Florida. He actually didn't play all that much this year. Plays here at the end of the regular season and the end of the season, and really just tears the cover off the baseball down at the Auburn Regional. But I noticed Ryder Woodson's name earlier this season. Now, NC State had a famous player, Tracy Woodson, who played in major leagues. And at first I was like, oh, maybe he's related. No. And then I was like, this motherfucker better not be kin to Randy Woodson. And he was given a roster spot because he's like Randy's long lost nephew or cousin or kid's grandson or whatever. I called Elliot. I go, this guy better not be related to Randy. You are not doing any favors for Randy Woodson. And he was like, come on.
Yeah,
come on.
No, that's not the case. Not the case. So anyway, they get beat by Auburn. It is what it is. And Auburn,
who is really, really good, by the way.
But so are a lot of these other SEC teams.
They are.
And it didn't matter.
A
lot of them got knocked out.
Vandy ended up the team advancing out of their region. Louisville, ACC team. Georgia, in that ballpark, which is just a sham, by the way. Duke ends up being the team that eliminates, that advances. Technically, Duke did beat Georgia, but they beat Oklahoma State in the regional final. Duke and Louisville in at the expense of 2 of the top seeds, and an American Conference team, UTSA, the Roadrunners, meep take care of Texas, the number 2 overall seed.
Yeah, speaking of you being active on Twitter and you've had your second cup of coffee, I guess, are we beefing with Gold now too about some baseball?
No, not beefing with Gold. I have this stance about the NCAA baseball tournament, and people take it like, well, the SEC wins it all the time. It's not that difficult. And it's like, this is like one of the few times I will like defend things that Carolina has done. Like, this tournament is just really difficult to win.
Yeah.
Like, see North Carolina baseball, see anything in the ACC. And I even saw one tweet like, oh, the ACC has 2 national championships. And somebody was like, no, Miami's got 4. I'm like, right. Miami won all of those titles before they got to the ACC.
Yeah.
This is not about the ACC. It's about the difficulty of this tournament. And invariably somebody will come in with Stanley Cup, or B, well, that's just baseball. And our former colleague chose, well, that's just baseball.
But I mean, there's an element to that. I mean, I said this last week. There is no greater variable than college pitchers. Okay. College pitching and college bullpens. People could talk about college kickers all the time. Oh, no. I will take, if my life depended on it, you want your death rules? You want to go down that ramp? You want to go down that path?
Who'd you rather be?
If your life was on the line, what would you rather rely on? Would you rather rely on a college kicker or a college bullpen?
Oof. Give me the kicker.
Give me the kicker every single time, man. Every single time. I'm putting my hands in the life of a college kicker, not a college bullpen. And things can get away from you really quick when it comes to your college bullpen. So, but I think it's still worth it to say, while recognizing, man, that's just baseball. You're as good as the next day's pitcher. It is pretty freaking wild that these loaded SEC squads are getting bounced in this round, not the super regionals. That's the key difference.
Yeah, the NCAA went to seeding the 16 teams in 2018. This is the first time the top 2 overall seeds have been eliminated before the super regional round. If you go back to 2000, which is all I had the bandwidth to do, it's only happened once in 2014, where the top 2 seeds were eliminated before the super regional round. So this is rare, even by college baseball standards. This is rare. That it's the ACC kind of filling the vacuum and being the ones doing the pushing out of the SEC. Well, I do find a certain delight in that.
Of course. One more sports phone call, because again, this also highlights there's a trio of sports phone calls. you have what I would call the drive-by fandom. Like Alex calling in about Auburn baseball.
Right.
Do you really care about Auburn baseball? Nah, it's that time of the year. You're happy your school won, and that's the end of it. Then, of course, you have the other aspects of this. You have the Elliott Avent hive out there that just is hell-bent on getting him out of there, even though there's all sorts of context about why he's been pretty freaking successful at NC State. And then, of course, the true baseball knowers over at UNC. I thought this call was amusing.
I just got off, I just hung up after calling you guys about heading home from the bus. There's 0% need for this to be played on the show. I just think it is something that is very much something like that the two Joes would appreciate because it is just copious amounts of some fool getting dunked on. You can actually see it because that part of Inside Carolina is not paid. If you go on the Diamond Hills forum, there was a guy who posted back on April 3rd asking why was Tyson Bass still in the lineup. And people, every single time Tyson Bass has gotten a hit since then, has jumped on and bumped that shit back to the top. And they've been shitting on this mirror for almost 2 months now. It has in the negative 60s downvotes at this point. Hell, I won't lie. Sometimes I upload it just for the chance to download it again. But yeah. Some guy Hiltu on there just has been getting shat on since early April. And, I'm sure he is appreciating the year's growth because Tyson Bass did hit another homer tonight. But yeah, I just think that's something the two of you.
You would be correct. That is something we would appreciate. The fact that you're petty enough on the message boards to keep bringing that one up from April while the guy produces. We absolutely appreciate that kind of content to the OG Sports Phone. But I also enjoyed that call because it does illustrate a thing that I absolutely recognize and respect. When it comes to college baseball, the ones that are into it, ride hard for this. And it ride like from the beginning of the season. So you think Canes fans get a little annoyed when the bandwagoners show up? I could only imagine how the baseball discourse gets online for those who have been following it the entire season or for multiple seasons. And then you get some takes like that. So anyway, that is a good overall view of where we're at with college baseball coming out of this weekend. And since we're recording this in the morning, I'll be curious to see how things play out for Carolina later today. But State, done. ECU, done. Wake Forest?
They play Tennessee.
Duke.
And a win.
Duke's getting through.
Mm-hmm.
So they continue to do their thing. We'll keep an eye on it next week.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com. Green cleaning solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
We've got the Sports Podcast Festival coming your way, week 0. Get your tickets today at therialto.com. It's going to be us. It'll be Split Zone Duo, who's got this connection to Will Wade, NC State coach, which we'll talk about here in a second. I know Will Wade might show up. I don't know. You could see him at the Rialto. Going to bring a reckoning to 5 Points. Maybe Ven-Allen Lubin will join too. People are taking that really seriously. Anyway, Rialto.com to get your tickets. We're also doing a twofer. We got the Scalar brothers coming in later this year. You can buy both tickets for a discounted rate. So head on over to the Rialto.com today to find that out. We're going to be talking with some of the guys from Split Zone Duo over the next couple of weeks, which gets us to another aspect of us entering summer protocols. Joe, are you ready? I think it's time to have a meeting.
Let's have a meeting.
So this will be our last week of a full run of shows. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Mailbag Friday. Starting next week, we are going to a slightly reduced schedule. Monday, no show Tuesday, a very special Wednesday, Thursday live, and then the mailbag. I know it sounds kind of confusing, but follow me here. So Monday, anybody can podcast on a Monday. Tuesday, summer protocols, but it's not like we're not working on a Tuesday because we will be hard at work for a very special Wednesday brief history of Triangle Good.
Okay.
Those that to be on Wednesdays.
Triangle Good on 6/11, 6/18, 6/25. So we got 3 in front of us here.
I think so. The first one's going to be the Mount Rushmore of Triangle Good quarterbacks.
Okay.
And again, it has to be college only Triangle
We're
quarterbacks.
2000 to now.
Of the last 25 years.
Okay.
of the last 25 years as we hit, 25 years of doing this thing.
Okay.
So the Mount Rushmore of QBs.
So this is your chance to chime in for next week's Triangle Good, brief history of Triangle Good, the best quarterbacks since 2000.
Yes.
We will have 4 each.
College.
Or you and I will get together and just rank 4.
We will have our own Mount Rushmore.
Each person.
For the show.
Oh, for the show.
For the show.
One Mount
An
Rushmore.
official OG Media Mount Rushmore.
And then that person should really put it in their bio or at least update their Wikipedia
Oh,
page.
absolutely.
Yes.
Much like we updated our bio for Pardon My Take. Seem like nice guys. Seem like good guys. Seem like they have a good podcast. That's in our bio now.
Best, that seems very positive. So how about worst losses for the 18th?
So do we want to do a Mount Rushmore or do we want to do the top 10 worst losses in Triangle Good history?
I think we
the
need
last
10.
25.
I think we need 10.
Okay, so the top 10 Triangle Good losses of the last 25 years.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. I know what number
that
one
opens
is.
up a lot of
I also want to do a Prince Who Was Promised.
steam.
Yeah.
So we went from good, we went to a positive to a negative.
So we have to do a positive
You
again.
want to do positive again?
So what would be the positive?
Ooh.
Best coaches?
Coaches? I was just about to say.
Best coach of the last 25
You know
years?
We're all going to put.
Yeah. Mount Rushmore of Triangle coaches?
You know who's on my list.
All right. But it's got to be Triangle. Or is this a special Big Four edition?
Ooh.
Because see, if we include Wake Forest in the coach, because that's the thing, you can't talk about Triangle Good without mentioning. By the way,
Yeah. Yeah. That.
so maybe
Let's
we
do that. Let's do coaches.
We'll do coaches, Big Four coaches.
Yep.
We got to include Wake Forest.
This
in that
one gets an asterisk. Wake.
Wake included in this one.
Sorry, Wake. You're not in the QB.
And then we go back to
conversation.
bad.
You're also not in the top 10 loss conversation.
So I think then we go back. Well,
No, then we're gonna
no. Wake Forest might show up in the top 10 worst losses.
Oh, absolutely.
For NC State.
Well, absolutely.
But anyway, so Wake Forest will get representation in that one.
I suspect we won't have a show the first week of July.
No, we will not. And then we have to do I want to do a Prince Who Was Promised.
So then that gets us to
Like the top rated QB that showed up and actually did not pan out.
Okay. Now that seems very specific.
I know it's very specific, but I think people know what I'm talking about.
You can do that as an offshoot in the QB.
Okay, fair enough.
You know
Then
what I
what do you
mean?
want the next positive one or the next bad
So
one?
now
to
we
be?
have 9 for sure, but when is the ACC kickoff?
Oh, ACC kickoff's not till late July, like the 20 something, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's look. July 22 through 24.
Okay.
So we've got no show on that week, and then we got 9 Triangle Good, 16 Triangle Good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 that we need. Triangle Good series.
We have time.
We can go best wins, best teams.
Mount Rushmore of teams.
Teams.
Okay.
Boy, that
A Mount Rushmore of teams.
what NC State baseball team can I put on there to bother people? You never won anything, Joe.
Baseball?
They've never won anything.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So that's what we're gonna do. Throughout,
Leave that last one. The last one gets to be a negative now.
it has to be a negative. We'll workshop it.
First coaches.
I mean, it could be worst Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson moments of the last 6 months. I don't know. These are things we could discuss.
Oh, coaching searches.
Ooh.
There's our meeting.
So that's what
Boom.
we're going to be doing for some of the summer protocols. So be on the lookout for
Oh,
that.
and I didn't even finish my promo. This is your chance to chime in on the
Yes.
best quarterback since 2000. NC State, North Carolina, Duke.
Yes,
Okay.
triangle. And it
Triangle
has to be
good.
college based. Do not give me their pro
This isn't about
stuff.
Russell winning a Super Bowl.
Nope. It's college
You're certainly welcome
only.
to pimp Russell
Of course.
for his one healthy year at NC State.
Of
but
course.
That's your prerogative.
That's right.
Again, 919-444-2211. We will not be raw dogging those calls, by the way.
No, we
We
will
will
not.
be carefully cultivating those calls.
Very good point.
So make sure you bring your best take and don't suck. 919-444-2211.
You're going to give yourself a tongue?
I mean, as
For that
long,
one?
as long as we're ripping things off, we
Fair
might
enough.
as well just
Fair
go
enough.
full homage.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I see the Athletic doing the thing about like, here are the top 25, whatever, of the last 25 years. Like, here's your best quarterback of the last 25 years. Is it Joe Burrow? Is it Cam Newton? That's easy. That's easy.
Anyone can do that.
Anybody can rank the 25 best all around college football programs. Can you do that with the triangle, though? That's a little bit more difficult, and that's something only we can do with our listeners. So be on the lookout for that. I know we said our goodbyes to Breeze Through last week, but we have one final Breeze Through promotion to let you know about.
Oh, well, this is important.
This is a very important one.
They don't have to pay us for this.
No, this one's free. This is a thank you. So Adam texted us, and they're having an everything must go sale on beer.
Yes, we're not stuttering. There's a beer sale.
There is a beer sale at the OG store that's on Chapel Hill Road in Cary.
Yeah, it's just past the stadium.
Yep.
Down Trinity Road. You make a right. You can't miss it.
So here's what you need to do. The final day of the store is Sunday, June 8th. You need to clean it out. So go to the store and go buy some beer. I might just go buy some beer for Leanne, honestly.
This is just regular beer, by the way. This is not OG Light, just so you know. I don't want to get people confused.
Yes, that's very key.
Well, look at the calendar coming in handy. My gosh.
Okay.
What a workout.
We're just trying to get through the summer, man.
I know. Well, I keep acting like August is going to get here and magically we're going to have things to talk about.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
We'll make it work.
We've got three Wednesdays in August as well for Triangle.
This is where real shows stand out.
That's right.
I tried to teach you this in the pandemic.
You tried.
I tried.
We did pretty well.
That's all things considered. We did okay. So that's what we're going to do throughout the summer. And then you need to go and sell out the beer at the OG Breeze Through. Big thanks to Rowback. Giglio's rocking his Rowback today. You can rock the same. They got a lot of Father's Day promotions going on right now. So act on it today. Go to rowback.com. Use the promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Again, that's RHOBACK.com. OG20 is the promo code to save 20% off your order. They're dropping new stuff all the time. Actually, they dropped the new Maryland one that I'm going to have to get for my brother-in-law and my nephew.
Nice.
Have you seen the one with little crabs on it?
Yeah.
That's a slick polo. I was like, well, I never thought I'd actually be getting a polo for Brian, but here we are. I'm going to get a
because if you can wear a polo,
he can wear one.
Anybody. We can all change.
That's right. So go to rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20. We just got done with the Stanley Cup playoffs run for the Carolina Hurricanes. It's expensive. $65 parking, $15 beers, all that fun stuff.
Excuse me? $22.
I'm sorry, $22 beers. You're thinking, man, how am I going to recoup all that cash? Easy. Call Matt Davis over at State Farm and save money on your home and auto. Start the conversation. See how much you can save. Call them directly at 919-779-8277 or insuregarner.com. And really, if you're talking about saving money and you're looking to consolidate debt, like, look, you put a lot of those playoff tickets on your credit card. Your credit card rate's pretty ridiculous in terms of the interest rate. You might need to just refinance and get a consolidated debt situation with our friends at Miller Lending. Joe just did this a couple of weeks ago.
I did. Super easy process. Austin will give you a lot of different options, including one where he'll tell you, hey man, we're not going to touch this loan. This loan, we gotta leave that thing alone.
Yep.
But where he's going to give you all the options, give you all the numbers, and makes it super easy. And it honestly, I'm only sleeping at night because of the help from Austin and Miller Lending. So give them a call.
919-447-3377 or go to millerlending.com/the OG. That's our landing page. You take it to close. You're going to get a gift basket from Raleigh Wine Shop. So again, millerlending.com/the OG or call them directly at 919-447-3377. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline from the Athletic, he is Brendan Marks. Brendan, happy June 1st, post-June 1st Festivus or something. I have no idea. Happy Bill Belichick Day. It's after June 1, and it's 10:04 as of this recording. Bill Belichick's still the head coach at North Carolina, right?
As far as I'm told, as we've learned, there is no news cycle outside of his purview. But we're good. We're good for now, at least. Check back in at the end of us recording.
Why? Okay. I understood the point of fascination with that contract detail when he took the job. I did not understand why it was still a fascination point now, knowing the landscape. What exactly was Bill Belichick going to do? There seems to be this misunderstanding that, well, with the $1 million buyout, well, then he could just go his merry way. Nah, man. That sounds to me like you're going to take that job. It's for somebody else to buy you out. He's not going to buy himself out. It never made any sense.
Yeah, and if you go back to when he was first being hired and all of the reporting around that. I mean, our reporting at The Athletic, that buyout was one of the final sticking points because he was the one who wanted to be lower in case the NFL came calling, was our understanding.
Yeah.
Like, this was very much a Bill Belichick insertion to make sure that he had leeway just in case something crazy happened at the NFL level and somebody threw him a life raft, basically.
Sure.
As far as why it's still a topic of conversation, I think it's because a lot of people have maybe gotten ahead of themselves and misunderstood the contract. I don't know about you guys. If I was guaranteed $30 million to do something that I enjoy doing, I might do that thing. Obviously, to each their own. But yeah, I've never understood why this was such a massive dateline beyond when it happened in January. And it was basically a break glass in case of emergency it was like NFL backup plan C or D, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not just 30 million guaranteed. It's also having your way with the roster, or not the roster, but with the coaching staff. I mean, you got your guys with you. You got Mike Lombardi. You got your kid, and you got
kids.
You got your 2 kids. Yeah, I should say that. And you got your run of the place. So why would you walk away from that at this point? See how it goes. Are they going to be getting any good? Man, I don't know. I really do not know. We don't really know much about their roster right now. But the one thing I do know, we got to a point where all that speculation about Bill Belichick and whether he was going to be the head coach at North Carolina went away, I would say, in the last 2 months. He's going to be there. Now, how much longer after one season? That's anybody's guess. But in terms of this upcoming year, he's going to be there. I hope as of today that goes away. We can stop talking about that.
You would love for that to be the case. And again, as far as how good they're actually going to be, I mean, you guys know I am certainly not the football expert. However, I did just get back from some athletic team meetings in New York, and we were talking a lot, obviously, about the storyline, how the Tar Heels are actually going to be. And, our staff, by and large, is pretty high on this quarterback, Gio Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
Think he could be a decent player. Defensively, you would like to think they're not going to make the kind of mistakes they've been making for 20 years now.
I was going to say, you want to talk about a real.
There it is, Joe.
Yeah, there's the schedule.
No, that's their defensive rankings.
That's the defensive rankings. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you
grab that out of the bathroom trash can, Giulio.
What I was going to say was, if Bill Belichick truly wants to consider this a success, I don't really care about the wins and the losses. Can you fix that defense? Many have tried.
Well, and the other thing that I would say is a success is that TCU game. The numbers on that are going to be outrageous. And wouldn't you know, that's just in time for the ACC's new television viewership initiative to kick in. So that's the thing, I think, if you're North Carolina, that you're as invested in as anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, speaking of North Carolina, Ven-Allen Lubin was supposed to go back to North Carolina. This has people upset. I'm just going to pull this up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. I thought this was probably the best representation of the reaction to this from Keeping It Heel. Ven-Allen Lubin's next stop is a slap in the face to the Tar Heel faithful. He had tweeted out, before anybody jumps to the wrong conclusion, I am letting everyone know that I'm entering the transfer portal with the full intent on returning to UNC. My action relates to the complexities surrounding the possible approval of the pending NCAA settlement. This was back on April 21st. So that was his intention, Brendan. But best intentions, they don't always go that way. And now he's running with the pack with Will Wade. I guess Will Wade made him a strong-ass offer to leave Chapel Hill and hang out with the Wolfpack.
I'm going to be totally honest here, and I got so many texts about this when Ven-Allen Lubin committed to NC State. Strictly from a basketball perspective. Forget the laundry, forget what he said. This is a better basketball decision for Ven-Allen Lubin by a million miles.
Not if you ask Theo Pinson, he said it was, quote, corny.
That, I think, is getting into the laundry of it, though. Like, Ven-Allen Lubin at NC State, he's going to have the potential to start. He's going to be, at worst, their sixth man off the bench. He's going to play 25, 30 minutes a game. There are certainly games where you can envision him being the leading scorer for NC State next season. Like, the opportunity he's going to have at Raleigh is leaps and bounds better than the opportunity he was going to have in Chapel Hill, where he was going to be the backup to Henry Visar. He would maybe play some 4 in the mix with Caleb Wilson and Jaron Stevenson. Strictly in terms of basketball, this is a better fit. Also, this is now Ven-Allen Lubin's 4th school in 4 years. I mean, he is the college journeyman.
Yes.
He is like I'm trying to think who's the best example of that at like the NBA level, but he is like the college version of that. And that's fine. We're going to see more of these guys. As far as the mechanics of how it goes down, my understanding from the start was that North Carolina really valued what Ven-Allen Lubin did over the second half of the season, especially in February. They liked what Ven-Allen Lubin's salary was. They were happy to have him back in that role at that rate. But when his role changed and the ask for a rate changes, then you sort of have to reevaluate some of these decisions. And so, yes, you can say you're going in with the intent of coming back to North Carolina. That was after they had already remade their front court. It was when it was pretty clear that his role had changed. It was pretty clear that North Carolina needed to reallocate some money to try and shore up its wing positions. And now that's all come to fruition. So, look, he's not going to get the return game. He's not going to get booed in Chapel Hill. I'll be fascinated to see how he plays against North Carolina. I think people are making a bigger deal out of this than ever. Like, there's no such thing as loyalty in college sports anymore. Like, we don't need to pretend like there is, guys.
I mean, I guess if you were to look at it from the lens of fandom, you had and this is a fresh one. You had Caleb Love leave the program and openly talking about, and we make fun of it. We have some fun with it, where he's a Tar Heel for life, right? There's still that general attitude. I think, to your point, it's more along the lines of what we have seen out of Ven-Allen Lubin as a college player with his fourth stop.
Right.
There is no loyalty.
None.
It's all about where
Third one in the ACC, no less.
There you go. And I guess the other thing too, we've been asking for this. Dontrez Styles was the one who kind of broke the seal on it, but Styles at least had another stop on his way from UNC to NC State.
Right.
And I forgot that Dontrez Styles went to NC State last year, given how that last year went. This one being a direct, like, from UNC to NC State. I mean, heck, we got a sports phone call that essentially says, why would anybody want to be at NC State over North Carolina? And that mindset, man, that fan mindset's got to go, because, as you mentioned, it is playing time. That's the thing that matters.
Yeah, it's playing time, it's opportunity, and, like, look, would North Carolina have loved to have had Ven-Allen Lubin back? Like, strictly just talking about it from a basketball perspective, he's a great fit as a backup five, as somebody who can be like a rotational part of your front court. I was really impressed by what he did over the last 5 weeks last year, but, like, if you're going into this season for Hubert Davis, which I think we've all agreed upon is this is the do or die year.
Yeah.
Going into this year, you don't necessarily want to rely on him as that guy. Versus at NC State, he's going to be what, Gilio, the fourth option maybe? I mean, he's going to be behind Trey Holloman. He's going to be behind Arsenault. He's going to be behind Darion Williams, obviously. But he's going to be one of the primary front court options. Like, it's a good fit for him. And like you say, the fan mindset, it's a different thing too. Like, I don't know. It's different even from 10 years ago. You mentioned the Theo Pinson tweet in Corny. Like, the way Theo Pinson probably feels about Duke and NC State is not the way that, like, current players feel about Duke and NC State if you're at North Carolina. Like, you can only instill so much of that culture in these 9-month stopovers. Like, how much hate can you really ingest in that little bit of time? So I think the whole thing is changing a little bit.
I kind of want to pause here to give credit to Jim Tanner, having a value structure. And this is what happens when you hire a general manager who understands positional value and understands how a roster structure works. Let's go back to Stojakovic getting all the money to go from Cal, where he was not a good three-point shooter in the ACC. He got a shit ton of money to go to Illinois, right?
Yep.
Please tell me the difference between, and I think I know the answer. Tell me the difference between Stojakovic and the guy that Carolina got over the weekend from Montenegro.
Right. It's the name brand. I would actually argue this guy is going to be a better fit positionally.
And I also think it's the value.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing they didn't pay Luka Bogovic the same amount that they would have had to have paid Stojakovic.
Nope.
So I want to give Tanner a little bit of credit here for understanding replacement level value, understanding where you're supposed to invest in your roster. You said Caleb Wilson. Caleb Wilson, the freshman, is the one player after AJ DeBansa ends up at BYU, and it looks silly that Carolina lost out to a number one recruit in the country to BYU.
Right.
Like, we can all live with Carolina losing recruits to Kentucky.
Right.
Kansas.
Right.
Fucking BYU, for real.
Yeah.
And I think they overpaid for Caleb Wilson. I think there's also before they got Jim Tanner.
Yeah.
So now also you're invested in this guy. Guess what? He's got to play.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't.
And he should play. He's going to be one of the best players.
And he could be very, very good for them. So I just wanted to point that out about Bogovic. I know people are somewhat caught up on Ven-Allen Lubin. I think Ven-Allen Lubin could potentially start for State. He will have a bigger role for State. I think he was a good player in the second half of last year for Carolina because they understood what his position was and he understood what his role was.
Yeah.
He's not Armando Bacot. He's not a traditional big, but he's definitely somebody who can help you in college basketball. Good for him for understanding his value. Good for him for making a move. And good for Carolina for not overpaying for somebody. I mean, that's the way I look at this.
That's fair.
Yeah, I kind of think it's a win-win-win too. And the value thing, again, like you look at North Carolina, like they didn't, Visar is their big name, sort of portal addition.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to be your defensive anchor. He's worth that. He's worth going and dropping that. Understanding the scale, like you said, Giglio, 100% agreed. 100%.
Now, if I can kind of insert why I think the reaction to some of this stuff makes sense to me from a fan perspective, because it's not just the individual thing. It's not just Ven-Allen Lubin going from North Carolina to NC State. I think it's a combination of things coming home to roost and all of us having a hard time adapting to it. Throw this in with the news last week. I mean, we knew it was going to happen, but it's a cold splash of water to the face when North Carolina's schedule release says for the first time since 1919, NC State is not going to North Carolina to play this game. You're looking at more erosion around the sport that a lot of people in this area care a lot about. So when you see the transfers, when you see somebody going from one rival to the other based on playing time, based on NIL, based on any number of factors, and you see the erosion in the schedule, it's that classic meme, what happened to the game I love? That's what it is. What happened to the game I love? And it's been slowly eroding away. And when you get presented with more examples of it, I can see why people are like, what the fuck?
Well, that's true. But I would venture that in 5 years, whenever the next wave of major conference realignment comes around, people are going to harken back and yearn for these days. They're going to yearn to still have a regular game. I mean, if you're North Carolina and NC State, if you're a fan of one of those schools, you're going to go, wow, remember when we used to play the guys 10 miles down the road? That sentiment, I think, is again, we've seen it in these major waves of realignment, more so on the football side, but it's finally coming to roost on the basketball side. These traditional, historic, not just regional, but deeply ingrained cultural rivalries are sort of falling by the wayside. And it's, I don't think it's reversing anytime soon. I mean, SEC meetings last week was certainly something to behold and keep an eye on from a distance. But yeah, it's not going anywhere. Unfortunately, the erosion, that's the exact word I would use. It is eroding. This is the next step of it. Yep. Eventually, we're going to have someone probably do the Duke Carolina thing. That is going to be a weird one too.
Capital R rivalry. The capital R rivalry, the real one. Yes. Speaking of Duke, I was interested over the weekend. I know it was aggregated a million times about the money that Cooper Flagg actually made at Duke last year. And a big part of that, of course, was his New Balance contract. They only mentioned Fanatics, but he also he had the Gatorade deal. But allegedly last year, the wording was Cooper Flagg had contracts worth $28 million for his 1 year at Duke.
You're referencing Howard Bryant of ESPN Meadowlark. And this was I forgot what the setting was, but it was with him and Bob Costas. It wasn't for a show or a podcast. It was from one of these sports business type conversations. And that's where this got started, that Howard Bryant and his conversations with the total package ended up being that amount, Brendan.
It's just like when you see an NFL agent tweet out, when Adam Schefter says this guy got a 6-year deal worth $400 million, and it's actually a 2-year deal worth $40 million. And the last 6 years are all options. To some extent, and this is something that I think people need to understand now in the NIL era. It's part of the reason why AJ DeBonta ended up going to BYU. It's part of the reason why these top overall recruits are being, curried for these massive hauls. AJ DeBonta is going to make more this year, for example, than some high major schools are going to spend on their entire roster.
Yeah.
If you are those schools, you are not paying just for immediate value. You are paying for future dividends too. I had this conversation with somebody after DeBonta committed, and it was, do you think he's getting $5+ million for one season? No. It is because the enduring trickle-down value of BYU having AJ DeBonta is in 3 years when they're trying to recruit another number one guy. AJ DeBonta can be there during one of his visits and say, I came here, I did this, it worked out, everything is great for me. You should come and do the same thing. It is a future recruiting pitch that you are paying for in the moment. You are front loading future recruiting pitches, basically. And so for the Cooper Flagg situation, I think there are a lot of similarities there. Like the New Balance deal is going to yield him all of this in the future, but it also means that for guys who are considering coming to Duke, hey, look, we can get you to the top of the line in terms of NIL and brand deals. It is the future value of this as much as the present value. As far as $28 million, that is, I mean, in outer space compared to my understanding of what he made. He was very handsomely compensated, excuse me. 28 million, I mean, is like, I would say probably 4 times the value that we're realistically talking about. People think there's unlimited money in college sports, and to some extent there is, but not like that. Not for one guy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a multi-year deal, obviously, with New Balance, multi-year deal.
Right, with Gatorade. That's what I'm saying.
Gatorade,
and so just getting him his foot in the door with those, helping to, I mean, Cooper Flagg was going to bring those in himself, but you are, if you're Duke, you're willing to pay more upfront to help him get those deals to then be able to say to the next Cooper Flagg, hey, come, look what this guy did. We can lay out the similar package for you. It is paying for future recruiting.
Also, did Duke get really good last week with their additions? Because I've been on this. I don't think the Boozers are as what everyone thinks they are. Bandwagon.
They had their none and done, by the way.
And then they added 2 guys where I was like, now hold on.
Hold up.
The kid from Barcelona feels like potential game changer for them, for that team.
Yeah.
In addition now to the Boozers, because now you're not asking the Boozers to be Cooper Flagg, right? Like I people look at me like, oh my God, you're so anti-Boozers. No, they're wolf blood, number 1. Number 2, I'm just pointing out that not every 5-star is the same.
Right.
And they asked a lot of Cooper Flagg this year, which worked out. But that always doesn't work out. I feel like those 2 moves they made, the one kid, Wilkins kid, reclassifying, and the kid from Barcelona, those feel like major roster upgrades for Duke basketball to the point where I can get behind them being a Final Four favorite again.
Yeah, Dame Sarr, the kid from Barcelona, the Italian kid, he's awesome. And I think that Cedric Coward, the none and done, I think he probably would have been more immediately ready to contribute because he's played multiple years of college basketball. He's older, et cetera. With a lot of these foreign guys we see, there is some level of adjustment period, either in the preseason or usually like January, February, like Igor Demin last year at BYU hit a little bit of a wall then. But yeah, I agree with you, Gilio. I mean, he to me sort of completes the puzzle. And no, Boozer is not going to be Cooper Flagg. Like, I think, is he going to be probably the most productive player on this roster? I still think so. Mm-hmm. I still think he's probably going to be like a 17-9 kind of guy. But I think that, like Con Knipple, if he was on this year's team, he has the potential to do more than Boozer.
All right, let me reframe once again, right? Reframing with Ven-Allen, Lubin, and where we are right now, and I'm going to reframe with Duke as well. I think we're all in agreement. I think most people recognize that the Boozer twins are not what last year was about. What I think this is really about is yet another example that John Shire and how Duke is set up is continuing on the right path. They are in the mix for these top recruits. They are supplementing. And this is something that we all have to remember as well. Mm-hmm. These rosters can still be taking shape on June 2nd. And it can completely reframe how you look at the roster, like it happened for Gilio and this Duke team, right? So I'm going to trust that Duke recognizes what they have, just like they recognize what they had last year. And they're going to do their damnedest to try to find the right pieces to fit with what they have this upcoming year. The point being, and why I think Duke fans are kind of riding this right now, is when you look upon your peers, who's doing it better than Duke right now?
Yeah. No, I think you can make
the question. Who's doing it better than Duke right now?
Nobody is. Nobody is. I mean, I think in terms of overall recruiting and roster building philosophy, like in terms of they have been in the international market, so you got Tyrese Proctor, you got Kaman Malawach, you've now gotten Dame Sarr. They've been in that market. You're still getting the elite high school guys. You're getting the Cooper Flaggs. You're getting the Cam Boozers. You are also getting 5-stars who stick around. Patrick Ngongba is going to be very, very good this year. Caleb Foster, whatever you want to think about him, he's now a 5-star kid who's back for year 3. Tyrese Proctor.
Glue guy, 5-star glue guy.
Right? I mean, but you're getting retention from guys who historically you did not get the retention from.
Right.
And then you're supplementing them in the portal. Obviously they didn't have as many portal additions as they did last year, but Malik Brown, again, still is a guy who is going to play and have a major impactful role as long as he's healthy. So in terms of looking at all the various ways by which you can build a college roster now, Duke is, dipping its fingers into all of the buckets at a very high level.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is going to be a much more balanced roster. It's not going to be like John Shire. I think one of the things that hurt Duke in the Final Four loss to Houston was he danced with the ones who brought him to a detrimental extent.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that Caleb Foster was really good in the first half of that game. He had a couple of rebounds. He was limiting Houston's second chance points. He didn't play at all in the second half. I think this is going to have to be a deeper team this year because you don't have Cooper Flagg. But yeah, I mean, if this team is not Sweet 16 minimum, Elite 8, Final Four, absolutely. To me, the guy who sort of determines it all is Isaiah Evans. Is he going to be a 12-point per game, 2 to 3 threes a game kind of guy? Does he finally find consistency? Is he going to be a 3 to 4 threes a game? Is he going to give you some rebounds, an assist or two? Where he falls on that spectrum, to me, I think is really what influences Duke's ceiling as much as anything.
All right, we'll let you go on this.
Okay.
I saw the report over the weekend from John Orand of the Sports Business Journal that we are inching closer to an NCAA tournament expansion, looking anywhere between 72 to 76 team format.
Yeah.
And good. Go to 96.
Well, here's the question. What exactly is the NCAA looking for here in expanding the tournament? Because it's not like those early round games. Essentially, what you're doing is you're creating more Dayton. You're creating more play-in opportunities. And those are not highly rated games. I can't imagine that adding these teams to give you a couple of more openers is going to really sweeten the deal from a television ratings and a television windfall. So I'm kind of at a loss as to what are they really looking for out of their television partners through 2032 that would make it financially worth it to go to more teams?
Well, I think there's a couple of things here. So from the TV side specifically, I would say it's about the packaging.
Okay.
So people watch the NBA play. People love the NBA play.
Fair.
Those teams do not traditionally, or at least have not so far, gone on and made these incredible runs to the NBA Finals, but people watch the play. People
Fair.
want to see who's right there on the cut line.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you can repackage Dayton, or at least there is the thought that if you can repackage Dayton, make it more of a standalone event, make it more of a, these guys are all fighting to sort of get in and have their shot. I think there's some sentiment there. Strictly in terms of the inventory, obviously more inventory has meant more money. It is what it's going to do that. You've also got to think about it from the NCAA side of things, where they've had this competition committee, which has been and this is the Sankey argument, which I don't totally buy, but they keep pushing, which is it's about opportunity. It's about the opportunity to compete for championships and raising the bar. And since the last time the NCAA expanded in 85 in earnest, Division I has absolutely exploded. We got 360 however many teams now. You haven't expanded the tournament at all in the past 40 years. By doing that, we get a little bit closer to that minimum competition percentage that the NCAA is after for all of its championships. So I think that's another aspect of it. And again, if you are these power conference commissioners and you're talking about bids and everything is revenue generated, if you can get more teams in, you never know who can be a UCLA a couple of years ago and who can make a run. And if they can make a run, the bids that they can earn, the revenue that comes with those, it all trickles down. So I think it's a revenue thing. I think that there's a sentiment on the TV side that if we can repackage this, we can make it more of an attractive play-in-esque thing where people will want to watch. Those first couple of days, this year's tournament, those were the best games.
Yeah, they ended up being good.
The Dayton games ended up being some of the best games of this year's tournament. So I think it's a couple of moving parts altogether. If you got to expand it, say what you want. I'd rather it go to 72 or 76 than 96 because I think that fundamentally changes the integrity of the tournament. It also is going to, screw with the schedule in a lot of unforeseen ways. If you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way. I think people are probably making a bigger deal out of it than it is. I would love for it to stay the same, but it's not going to. It's a matter of time until it expands.
So 68 was a half measure, and I think it was piecemealed and it wasn't well thought out. I think if you go to 76, you kick those games back to the Thursday before.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden or you kick your tournament later, either way, it becomes a full week of Thursday, Friday games. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's the NCAA tournament, which has been my argument all along.
Yeah.
The only thing people care about is the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Is it on? Can I watch?
NCAA tournament games and make them real NCAA tournament games.
Yeah.
Don't make it this, on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday or, I would also love for them to just put the 16 seeds back into their normal spot in the
Where they
tournament.
belong. If you
Where they
made
belong.
it, you deserve to be in.
Yes, agree. So I think that's the next part of this. How do you frame that 76? I am all for it being whatever it is, 8 playing games, and you play them just like you normally would.
Yeah.
Because you send 8 teams to a site, just like we did in Raleigh this year. Send them to a site, play. It's just an extra weekend.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. And again, it's about how do you do you think that the television networks are not going to be able to like sell that and reprogram it?
The one wrinkle in that, according to Orand, is that the NCAA would allow the television partners to come up with their own packages to sell. Because the NCAA is very particular about how they allow their corporate champions into how they're presented. And it looks like they would strip away that veneer of, our corporate champions, and we're doing this for the good of the game, blah, blah, to just straight up, yeah, man, everything's sponsored. Like everything is freaking sponsored, which, I mean, it kind of already is, but we're talking about an even deeper entanglement of sponsorships in the games and the television and everything else without that, the shiny polish of it's all about the student athletes and these people going on to do something else other than sports. You see what I'm getting at?
You slap a catchy logo on it. It's not the first 4 anymore. Call it something cool. Make it a weird court. Make it in a weird city.
It'll be the breeze through, whatever. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do in that situation.
For sure.
Brandon, we appreciate it. Have fun with the rest of the summer and the Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson watch.
Unfortunately,
maybe there's a ring. I saw some rumors of a ring.
Unfortunately, I regret to inform you both that we will, I can guarantee it, be talking more about that soon. Guarantee it.
Oh, really?
I can guarantee it.
Have the FOIA requests come back?
I can guarantee you I'll be talking to both of you very soon.
Perfect.
Hell of a tease. Hell of a tease, Brendan. All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Always enjoy our conversations with Brendan, and I guess we're just going to have another conversation with him.
What a tease.
Cannot wait. Every time we talk about the ACC, it's brought to you by our friends at Keller Williams Commercial. TriangleNCCommercial.com is the website. You can call them directly at 919-616-8681. Commercial real estate is a completely different beast. You're looking for refrigeration for all of the Two Roosters ice cream you're going to purchase from us when we drop our podcast flavor in July. Well, they can find a space for you. You need all the salmon. You actually got so inspired by your salmon at Butcher's Market that, you know what? I'm going to actually start a fish farm. And I need some sort of warehouse space to put all my tanks. These are you think this is crazy? It's not.
Let's get nuts.
You can ask the Donnelly team to find the right space for you. Brian and Julie, they're going to help you out at Keller Williams Commercial. So call them at 919-616-8681. I did mention it. Two Roosters flavor. It's on the way in July. In the meantime, new month means even more new flavors. Very excited about this. And just because the cane season's over doesn't mean you still can't get fantastic sundaes and various other items at our friends with Two Roosters. I know you were there. You must have been there over the weekend. You sent me some pictures identifying that you were in the vicinity of a Two Roosters.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. You're right. You know what they did this month? They went to their greatest hits, like all good podcasts, like all good shows. So they have the Lemon Bar back in action this month.
Mm-hmm.
They went to their hits, man. Respect. Mad respect.
So go to tworoosters.com.
The People's Choice series is what it's called.
People's Choice. I see. So go to tworoosters.com to find out the updated menu and all that kind of stuff, and the rotating flavors. And again, July, big month in July when we drop our flavor. Very much looking forward to that. Mention Butcher's Market as well. We are in peak summer grill mode right now. Memorial Day weekend, it's come and gone. You're thinking about headed to the pool. Maybe you're going to the beach. Maybe you need some sandwiches on the way to the beach. You can do that at the Butcher's Market. Having a bunch of people over to hang out on the patio, no big deal. Just contact the Butcher's Market. They can make that happen for you. So go to thebutchersmarkets.com to find out all your goodies. Also, big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. You can check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. Attorneys and counselors at law. Also, the home of Shady's, where you can still get OG Light. Did you have some OG Light at Shady's over the weekend?
I did. I went to Oakwood Pizza too.
They had it there too?
They had it there. I've been on a mission, man,
You
because
have
I'm
been.
out of it. I'm out of the supplies.
You're out of it.
Luckily, Shady's took care of me because they took care of me.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad they took care of it.
They're gonna have a keg
Mhm.
as well. So speaking of meetings and calendars, we're gonna go out there
Another meeting?
Yeah, we're gonna go out there one of the Thursdays in June.
Okay.
Do the show from there when they tap the keg.
Okay.
And we'll drink some beer and have a little bit of fun. How about that?
That sounds like it'll be a good time. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have more details. I thought the NBA playoffs wrapped up.
No, we get the Pacers and Thunder.
That's
final.
That's actually happening?
It is.
I thought
I don't think it starts till the end of the week.
I thought the playoffs wrapped up when the Knicks beat the Celtics.
The Knicks and their fans thought that. Yes.
Okay, I thought we were done here. I thought the only thing we had going was the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're in the finals now between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. I didn't realize the NBA was still going on. I'm kidding, of course. No, I think it's interesting. I think it was a foregone conclusion that we were going to get the Pacers and the Kansas City and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's cool. So I think what ended up happening this weekend, it wasn't so much talking about the upcoming finals matchup. It was more about the ending of Inside the NBA.
Yeah.
And you're rolling your eyes.
Yeah. The end. Air quotes.
But it's not, because they're going to be going to ESPN. Now, a couple of things about this, because I find the conversation around Inside the NBA pretty fascinating. And I know Dimitri and I are going to talk about this a little bit more on OG on Business this week, all a part of OG fans over at OGTriangleMedia.com. So this was aggregated by Awful Announcing, Shaq on Inside the NBA, to that network we're coming to. We're not coming to F around. And since this is the last show, I'm going to say it. And here's the clip.
I'm the youngest here. It's been a great run. It's been an honor. Chuck, I love you like the older brother that I never had. And if you say something, I will whoop your ass one last time on this show right now. Ernie, you came to my house in 1989, 1991. Big honor. It's an honor for me to be sitting up here with you, Kenny. The way y'all embarrassed us in 94, 95, you and Akeem, you taught me what it was to be a champion. And we're a family. I'm glad we're sticking together. And like I said, even though the name changes, the engine is still the same. And to that new network we're coming to, we're not coming to F around. And since it's the last show, I'm going to say it. We're not coming to fuck around. We kicking ass, we taking names, and we taking over. Okay? I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys, but hey, all right? Let me see that number one time for the number one show ever on TV. And we come over to take over that next network, too.
Is this the WWF versus WCW? Where's Paul Heyman when I need him?
919-444-2211. Curse or don't, Shaq. There you go.
Good for you. What am I missing here? We're coming to that network. We're taking over. It does sound like it's some sort of wrestling shoot, man. Like all of a sudden, Hulk Hogan's defecting over to W. Like, what am I missing here?
We had a retirement tour. Now we have a shoot promo.
I mean, it's. I think the point of fascination. I think the point, if I can pinpoint what's really going on here, is that the ESPN has been trying to capture that vibe of a show for many, many years, and they've failed many times. And a lot of it has to do with the structure.
I was going to say.
It has to do with the structure of it. So Bill Simmons, who has firsthand experience dealing with this, talked about it on his podcast. He's like, all right, man, like cool that Inside the NBA is going to ESPN, but he is convinced that they're going to fuck it up at ESPN. And he has good reason to think that.
And it's still going to continue on ESPN.
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, just say what you want to say.
I think ESPN's going to fuck the show up. I don't care if I get aggregated.
Zag. I didn't understand.
I think they're going to fuck the show up. I don't think they unless they completely change how they do commercials, the show is going to be different and people are going to be pissed, and Barkley and those guys are going to be pissed. And I think it's going to go badly. The only way it doesn't go badly is if they do the commercials and they give them the lengthy segments that you need to have that show work. They're going to have to change how they do it. They just paid so much for the NBA that if they don't do that and they do these same short, terrible segments that you're about to see in the finals, where it's like a 1.5 minute halftime and it's like a 20-minute pregame, if they do that, they're going to fuck the show up and everybody's going to be back.
I actually understand where Bill's coming from on this, because that's always been the beauty of Inside the NBA. They allow the segments to breathe, and it allows for some shenanigans that end up being aggregated, and that's what people end up talking about. I think it was Awful Announcing or Barrett Sports Media that had done that. They had a timer for the ESPN halftime shows, and because of all the commercial breaks, every one of the talking heads ended up having, on average, 90 seconds worth of talk time, on average. It was so bad that Simmons himself, you might remember this, you might not, but Simmons once got so frustrated with the cadence of that show, he snapped and he said, "Can I have some time to talk here? I've barely talked. Can I say this? Can I say something?" And that's all part of the structure of the show. So I agree with Simmons. If you're going to let it cook like they usually do, then you'll be fine. But if you try to shoehorn all those commercials, it clearly will not work.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a golfer who's got one ad on his shirt compared to a golfer with 25 ads on his shirt.
Sure.
This is your premium product. You just sell the one ad and you charge somebody a shit ton of money for it. You don't put 25 logos on your shirt. Easy peasy. I've only sold ads for 2 years and I know that.
You're an expert in the field, Joe.
I'm now an expert. Yes.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
All right, let's get into the Joe thinks he's right portion of the conversation. This is aggregated from Sports Illustrated. How Chiefs owner Clark Hunt feels about the state of Arrowhead, which, quick aside, typically when you do those player surveys, like what's the best place to play, what's the most intimidating place to play, all that kind of stuff, right? Who's got the best facilities, despite the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs have won multiple Super Bowls and they've had this sustained excellence. Arrowhead is actually not viewed as one of the best buildings around in terms of, amenities and everything else. So Clark Hunt says he wants Casey to play in a dome in the future. A dome, Joe.
I wonder where he got that idea from. Oh, yeah. I gave it to him 5 years ago when you noticed they had a championship quarterback, a once in a blue moon quarterback that you should be building around and not playing in minus 13-degree weather in the playoffs because you think it's macho or you think it's some sort of advantage for your team with all that speed and all that talent to be frozen in place. Instead, just think of all the Super Bowls they could have won. Joe,
you've moved on from
Tyreek Hill.
You've moved on from Tyreek Hill. Got it. Yeah, I'm reading this story.
If only.
I'm reading the story here about how they want to do this and build a dome and all this other kind of stuff. And I do love this general attitude. This is from an NFL writer. Building a dome is a disgrace. They're the Chiefs. Play outside. Why don't you just make them all domes, Joe?
You should.
Why don't you just call it Arena League?
If you're Kansas City, and just as in Charlotte, you have designs on something besides the AFC Championship game,
you need a dome.
Guess what? You need a multi-purpose facility.
Okay, to that end, I'm with you on that, and it ties back to our conversations about Bank of America Stadium and what exactly David Tepper wants. If David Tepper wants to bring all these events to Charlotte to say that the way he wants to, and that goes beyond just the next country show or something like that, right? Metallica. I think who else was? Kendrick and SZA just came through, right? So they're doing a hell of a lot more in that stadium than they ever did under Jerry Richardson. But that's like the bare minimum. Jerry Richardson never did squat at Bank of America,
including change the logo at midfield.
Right. So the bar was really, really low for David Tepper to come in and wow North Carolina with some big shows. I'm glad that he's doing it, but let's not get crazy here. The next step is to not cheap out on what you want to do with that building. And the only way to make that work, to get your Final Fours and all that kind of stuff, you need
WrestleMania, Final Four.
You need a dome.
Super Bowl. The NFL has proven they will move the Super Bowl around to non-traditional sites. If the facility has to be there, the hotels have to be there. In Kansas City, the hotels are not there. So
if that's the goal for Kansas City, that Clark Hunt wants to bring a Super Bowl to Kansas City, okay, now you have my attention. I see what the vision is. But this idea that, you would have won more Super Bowls if you just had a dome, that's stupid. Sorry, apologies to the carpool. I know we curse on here, but sometimes you say stupid, and that's the thing that gets people kind of fired up. But no, that's just dumb. That's dumb. I'm sorry. Because Football and the element is a feature. It's an advantage, not a bug for teams like Buffalo, teams like Kansas City. It's home field advantage. It exists for
maybe
a reason.
before the forward pass was prevalent.
Jeez.
Not anymore.
But you want to sell me on a Super Bowl? You want to sell me on a Final Four in Kansas City? All right. I'm with you on that one.
The lightning round.
For the last portion of the lightning round, let's get into the Joe Giglio was on the toilet and he sent me a bunch of reels. Let's see what we got here. This is from Bar Down and TSN. Edmonton does not seem thrilled. I didn't realize. No.
So this one's pretty thorough, actually.
No, they didn't do this, did they? So that is.
I love that that's a 12-year-old kid protesting too. Like
So-
he knows anything about it.
So he picks up the Campbell Trophy and they freak out appropriately enough. You're not supposed to do that. I agree. Don't do it.
I guess I didn't send you the video that like went through the years of all the teams who've touched it and haven't touched it. Like Florida's kind of fascinating.
Okay.
They've won it 3 times now. And the first year they touched it. Last year they didn't touch it.
And
they
what
won
happened?
the cup.
Hey,
And then this year,
2002 versus
they didn't touch
2006.
it.
Look, I'm going to give you the one example that I know full damn well because I walk past it every freaking time I'm on the 5th floor of Lenovo Center. There is this picture of a happy Ron Francis holding up the Wales Trophy. And you got Glenn Wesley and Rod Brindamore like, I want nowhere near that thing. So in 2006, when Rod was the captain, you notice what they didn't do.
No touchy.
No touchy. Didn't touch it. What ended up happening in 2006?
They won the cup.
So you're telling me Florida did it 3 years ago? Didn't win?
Did not win.
Did it?
Did not touch
2
it
years
last
ago.
year.
Didn't touch it last year. Won
Won.
it. And I can't remember because I was too busy getting ready for the After Dark. Did they touch it this year?
No.
Huh. And Edmonton did?
Even though they should have touched it this year because they've already won it.
Doesn't matter. They want to win it again. Let me open up the DraftKings app as we speak because I'm putting all the money on Florida. Speaking of Edmonton, Connor McDavid became a meme. What do we got here? What is this? When I'm tired on my lunch break and I listen to Connor McDavid telling his team to dig the fuck in and try not to disappoint him. Hold on a second.
Finals. Dig the fuck in right fucking now. Whatever the fuck you have. That's not fucking good enough. The fucking finals. Dig the fuck in.
I need you to have that on a loop during summer protocols. That's what I need.
This is the OG.
This is what I need from you on a Thursday before we go live. Like, all right. This is the OG. It's a Thursday live. I need you to dig in. That's what I need from you, Joe. That's what I need from you. All right. And the last reel you sent to me, this is from, what is this? I need you to set this up for me. Flamesnation.ca.
Oh, this was, we would never, the guy on the After Dark who was like, the Leafs would never, the Oilers would never. This is, I believe it's a Leafs podcast vigorously masturbating to fantasy booking their roster next year.
Okay. Are you sure it's not Calgary? Flames Nation?
Let's see.
Let's find out.
You're Sam Bennett. You're living next to your pal Matthew Tkachuk. You're right by the beach. Your significant others love it there. You're going to potentially a third consecutive Stanley Cup final.
The agent's phoning you. They're going, wait, what? Is this true living on my phone? Hello? Hi, Brad. What's happening? Yeah, it's July 1st. Yeah, what's Sam? I wouldn't say, he really likes it here in Florida. Let's call it that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You've got our, you'll fax that over then.
So if I
actually, that clip was I sent to you because they did a good job with their advertising.
Oh, is that why you sent it to me?
Yeah. Sometimes you have to read the next part of the text, dummy.
Oh, I thought that was a completely different thing.
No,
it's fine. Either way, if I were to interpret that reel,
I think that's the Florida people mocking Toronto, thinking that Sam Bennett is going to go to Toronto.
That's what that was.
Yes.
That's what that
But
was.
no, they did a really good job in their socials.
Well,
they sold an ad in the social to see what they were doing. And there was like a little stinger at the end if you had played it to the completion.
Okay. I'm actually a little annoyed now.
No,
no.
This is an idea that you've had.
Right.
But I'm sending it to you as an example.
You don't think I know that? You don't think
I'm discovering oxygen here.
Okay.
That's what that really was.
I have only explained, yeah, we could sell the social feed to a sponsor, to a corporate champion, where their stuff gets posted on the Instagram Reels and the TikToks and stuff like that.
They did.
Like that. Yeah.
You didn't even get to the stinger.
I don't need to. Welcome, Joe. Welcome, Joe.
We're getting there.
Sometimes you told me a long time ago, like, as a writer, it takes me a little bit of time to process.
Yeah, it does. It takes me a day.
So it takes you a week for me to it's like, yeah, we should probably do this, and then for you to text me,
this is more than a year.
Did you see this?
More than a year.
Yeah, Joe.
No, literally, the next text was.
Sometimes I worry about you, dude.
Next text.
Sometimes I worry about you.
The next text was, how hard would it be for Dane to create a sponsored tag for videos? That was in direct response to that text.
It's not that it's hard, is that we need somebody to do it.
Correct. That's why I said.
And when I say do it, I mean, we need a corporate champion to sponsor it.
Oh, we can work on that.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All that stuff has been figured out. It's just a matter of getting somebody to sponsor the social feed. It's not that hard. We've discussed this. But you discovered fire. Because Flames
made fire.
Because you were sitting on the shitter and Flames Nation showed up on your feed. Like, wait a minute. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority, bugsbite.com, Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority. You can bundle and save by combining those services. Mosquito Authority for the outside of your house, Pest Authority for the inside of your house. It is peak ant and roach time. Get a handle on it and contact our friends at bugsbite.com. Also, big thanks to our friends at Happy and Hail. Joe might need some sort of hockey break / smoothie break, something, I don't know. Do they have a smoothie that's got, like, what is it, ginkgo biloba or something?
Does that help with your memory?
I think it helps with your memory.
Ooh, I need that.
Would that help out? So that he can remember conversations about doing those types of things. But in the meantime, we thank our friends at Happy and Hail.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hail.
So with Happy and Hail, download the app, use that promo code OG25 to save 25% off a one-time order. Send us a screen grab of that order, and then you could be in the running for the Black Card, which gets you 20% off for life on your lunches and dinners. And of course, with the app, it makes it super easy to bump in and out, whether it's the smoothies, the salad bowls, the rice bowls, all that kind of stuff. The hot honey chicken is in effect right now.
Yes.
It's good stuff. So big thanks to our friends at Happy and Hail. And of course, our friends at Hometown Realty. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine about the current state of the housing market. And there's a lot of stuff out there. You need somebody to help you navigate how the market is being changed over the course of the summer into the winter, and inventory, sellers, buyers, XYZ. This is all stuff that sounds like a bunch of nonsense to me, but not to the folks at Hometown Realty. They understand where the market is. They understand what the comparables might be and the best position you to sell your house. So contact our friends at Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. You can buy and sell with confidence. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe. Let's go back to the OG Sports Phone, which is brought to you by Nature's Relief. You can check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. Download the app, and they will actually deliver their goods to you.
That's wild.
You never have to leave the house. So you can just DoorDash about everything you need. You need some salty sweet snacks, and you need some stuff to help you enjoy those salty sweet snacks in the middle of the night. Well, Nature's Relief can help you out on that. So hit them up, naturesreliefhempstore.com. Let's go back to the sports phone.
919-444-2211. Sports Phone and curse or don't.
This comes to us from a 919.
All this discourse about Rod Brindamore and whether he should be coaching or not, I'm going to tell you, I am a season ticket member to this day, and the reason is because of Rod Brindamore. So I would run through a wall for that man. You talk about his players willing to do whatever. As a fan, I'm willing to do whatever that man would say because I believe in him and his coaching. He is an awesome person on the ice and off the ice. Several years ago, through the foundation, I had the opportunity to purchase a workout session with Rod Brindamore, which my kids attended. He was awesome. And he always came to the community foundation when they did the 24-hour cycling. Him and his daughter came one year. He's just an incredible individual. And he is going to get this team a cup. I believe that. But the second Rod is done with this organization, so is this girl. Because I am not a fan of Tom Dundon. I don't think that he really thinks season ticket holders are worth anything, and that frustrates me. I appreciate that, he's trying to do things to the arena. I have traveled with the Canes. I've seen the arena in Dallas, in Denver, Vegas, St. Louis. I've been places. I get what a good arena looks like and that we need to up our game. But the frustrating part is parking garages, because in Denver, they had a nice parking lot across from the stadium where you could still tailgate. They also have this stuff called public transportation, which we have none of here in the Triangle. And that parking garages at Dallas, that's what they have. And trying to get out of there was a clusterfuck with Ubers and stuff. I'm just going to tell you, it was not a great experience getting in and out of that stadium or arena. So just my 2 cents worth. I believe in Rod. Be interesting to see what they do over the summer. Obviously we need to shore up the defense a little bit, but I get frustrated with these people who are on Rod's case about, oh, look, we went to the Eastern Conference Final and we stepped on our dick. You just don't even know what you're talking about. So just blowing smoke up your ass or whatever. I just don't even know what to say. As a fan, I would run through a brick wall. So I just wanted to call and give my support to Rod. I hope he does listen to your program. I know I walk every day for about an hour, and I take you guys with me. So I really enjoy the show, your takes on lots of things. Don't always agree with every take, but that's okay.
That is okay.
Curse or don't. Love it.
I love that. I love that there at the end.
That was such a rational call. And then all of a sudden,
just like that, stepping on their dicks. Like, what are you talking about? Yes. Now we're talking. Yeah. I hope people understand we don't go into this thinking you have to agree with all of our quote unquote takes. That's the point. That's what this is what this is for. We're just talking about sports, and we might have a little bit of a difference of opinion on how things played out. And that's okay, man. I don't get too concerned about those types of things. Now, as far as the Rod Brindamore stuff is concerned, I think, the further we step away from this, I think more rational opinions, more rational takeaways will start to creep in about what they've been able to do with Rod Brindamore as a brain trust that involves Tom Dundon, that involves Eric Tulsky, and this being yet another very important offseason. I think sometimes we get a little too caught up in, it kind of ties back to the start of today's podcast, where I don't like it when the only time I hear from you is when it's time to quote unquote fire the coach. Like, I get that you're upset and that you're disappointed, but there has to be other ways to transfer that energy to somewhere else and not the obvious cliched, really doesn't accomplish anything. Well, you got to fire the guy. Like, that's not always the answer, especially when you put a lot of context together with it, whether it's Elliot Avent, whether it's Rod Brindamore. That's not to say that there aren't times where you look at the situation and go, yeah, man, it's probably time. I mean, I think we've kind of hit that point with Dave Dorn. Yeah, man, it's probably time at NC State. It looks like after all these years, you've probably taken this thing as far as you can go. But when it comes to what Rod Brindamore has been able to do, what, say, Elliot Avent's been able to do, and you put everything in context, you're going, yeah, man, that's actually pretty impressive. And when you ask for something else, well, what are you really asking for? So I enjoyed that call. I think this offseason is less about Rod Brindamore and more about what Sebastian Aho talked about in the exit interviews on Friday. And we're scheduled to go over to Lenovo tomorrow to talk to Rod and Eric Tulsky. But Aho straight up challenged the front office to let's up the ante here on players. Like, it's not just about the core, but it's everybody else that goes along with it. So even Aho's talking about bringing in some big names, bringing in better talent to get them over the hump. Because isn't that what the ultimate takeaway was? Florida's just got better players, man.
More better players.
More better players. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap in that situation. All right, to a 252.
What's up, guys? I just wanted to weigh in real quick on the Ven-Allen Lubin transfer. I never thought we would live in a day and age where someone would willingly choose to go to NC State over Carolina. And I don't mean to offend you guys. I know you guys are state guys, but I mean this with all sincerity. Like, how does one willingly do that? Like, that's like choosing to drink a Sam's Cola over a Coca-Cola, or choosing to wear Shaqs or some other cheap Walmart shoe over Jordans. It's like, you're willingly going to the little brother. You're willingly going to the cheap knockoff. Like, I don't care how much money they offered him. Like, Carolina basketball has hit rock bottom. We have dudes transferring to fucking NC State. Fuck out of here, man. Hubert needs to go. Something needs to change. This is an all-time low for Carolina basketball. That's all I got.
We're losing our minds over Ven-Allen Lubin transferring from Carolina to NC State. That's where we're at.
One thing I thought was interesting now with Lubin's decision.
Yeah.
A lot of hand-wringing, and rightfully so, over Carolina's roster construction last year. But now they've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
All 5 went to major programs. Like, that's pretty rare. We've seen it before. Like, somebody, hey, it didn't work out at Carolina. I'm going to go to College of Charleston.
Who was it? Kate Tyson's at what, Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, all 5 guys who left are in power conferences at big schools.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, there's something to be said for that. I don't know what it is.
I mean, if you want to look at the totality of it, fine. But also, there's who's leaving and also who's coming in, as we talked about with Brendan.
And that was part of the decision, not just money, not just the shoes,
if we just talked about the Carolina Hurricanes, you need to get better with talent.
Yeah.
Well, then that was the task given to Hubert Davis
Correct.
and Jim Tanner to correct the issues that were very obvious last year. I mean, size being the biggest one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did they do this offseason?
3 bigs.
Right. So when you're Ven-Allen Lubin and you're seeing the uptick in how they're constructing the roster and you're looking at your minutes and your potential NIL deals, well, then you have to make the decision for yourself. And again, context. Let's close on this. The theme of the day, context. As we talked about with Brendan, Ven-Allen Lubin's career trajectory, this is his 4th stop. Notre Dame, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he went to Vandy, then Carolina, now State. That's just what it is. That's college basketball right now. He's not a Tar Heel for life. I'm sorry that disappointed you. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We will see you tomorrow.